Hi, I'm Dr. Scott Jensen, and I am running to be the next governor of Minnesota. A few days ago, I had the chance to do a podcast with Dr. Drew, and one of the comments he made was he hopes that this 4th of July, we have a renewed awareness of how important freedom is. I could not agree with him more. Today, I want to talk about guns. People have asked me about my position on guns, and I think the best way to deal with this would be to talk about past, present, and future. So let's first talk about the past. I got my files here. In 2018, we had the Parkland shooting in Florida on Valentine's Day, February 14th. And this was a highly emotional time for the entire nation. President Trump spoke to the issue, and I appreciated that very much. And I think I was taking a page from his playbook. President Trump was very good at driving the discussion and engaging Americans, whether you're talking about NATO or NAFTA or other policy issues, trying to simplify the tax code, giving more benefits to the middle class, things like that. He also spoke to the issue of guns in the wake of Parkland shooting. I did the same. I was in the Senate, and basically we were told that there would be no conversations, there would be no hearings, there would be no committee hearings. I didn't buy that. So a senator on the other side of the aisle brought to me 10 bills and asked me if I would be willing to, even just temporarily, sign on to a couple of bills to get a conversation, because he knew I was passionate about that. 8 of the bills I thought were relatively garbage. 2 of them I thought were solid. One was solid because it was a straw man bill that simply said that if you're a repeat offender on straw man purchases, you're going to be in more trouble. And I think most people would agree with that. The other bill that I signed on to as a, if you will, a co-author, not the chief author, was a bill regarding background checks. I don't support universal background checks. I think that if I want to sell my gun to my neighbor on a private sale, I can do so in whatever fashion I want, knowing that I may have some responsibilities. But I was intrigued by the universal background check bill simply because it raises the issue of how good is our background check system? How well does the NICS intersect with the other data banks? And if I wanted to use a background check to sell a gun to my neighbor in a private sale, could I access the background check without necessarily encumbering my privacy, my neighbor's privacy, et cetera, et cetera? So for a period of time, I think about 5 weeks, I was on a bill called 3279 in the Senate file in 2018. 5 or 6 weeks later, I struck my name from that bill because I had worked with the NRA and the Gun Owners Caucus to come up with a different bill, which was Senate File 4032. And Senator Andrew Lang, one of my colleagues and friends in the Senate, signed on to it. And Senator Lang may well be one of the most knowledgeable and conservative people we have regarding guns in the Senate. But he signed on to that bill with me. And what that was a permissive pathway bill, meaning that if I wanted to sell my neighbor a gun and I wanted to use the background system, I could have my neighbor go to the sheriff, get a free background check, have the sheriff email me that my neighbor wasn't prohibited. That's all that would happen. There would be no fee. The sheriff would never know why this neighbor was getting his background check sent to me. He would never know if it was about a gun, whatever it was about. He would never have any kind of make or model of a gun, and he would never know whether or not that email to me ended up resulting in anything. It was a permissive pathway. But with it, we put dollars back into having gun training in the schools. And with it, if I did choose to use that background tool mechanism, I got safe harbor so that if that weapon I sold to my neighbor was ever found at a crime scene, I had nothing to worry about because I had made certain that he was not prohibited. So the NRA and the Gun Owners Caucus said, we can live with that. And so Senator Lang signed on with me. That bill did not get a hearing. I submitted that bill the next year also, Senate File 1016 in 2019, and it did not get a hearing then either. But that's why there might have been some confusion. I am a powerfully committed Second Amendment rights person. I own half a dozen guns. I love to shoot birds, but I'm not very good at shooting ducks, way better at pheasants. But even there, the dogs don't like to usually to work with me because they know it's hit or miss. But the bottom line is, I think sometimes things crystallize how we feel about things. And I have to say that with COVID-19 and the riots in Minneapolis in May and June, I have never felt more powerfully motivated to protect our Second Amendment rights.